on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys not immediately after, but the morning after, early here, the morning after. It's like 5 a.m. here. Bringing you guys my recap for Winter Madness yesterday. Really good event. So many things to talk about. I will say, if there's one thing I can change about the event that I think might have even taken a whole point off the score for me, it is just how late the event started, which led to the event going into like midnight over here on the West Coast, but 2 a.m. On Eastern Standard Time, you know what I'm saying, for everybody there at the event. So we'll talk a little bit about the time management, but overall, really good event. I'm also not going to speak too much on these like preliminary battles, because when the stream started, they actually played battles from the night before the meet and greet event. So they like streamed the Hennyman performance versus, I think it was Uncle Buzz. That was decent. Eunice winning the $1,000 from Fat Say So, which was actually a pretty decent battle. It was the main event for the meet and greet card, if there was a main event, you know what I mean? But it was like the last battle that went on. So that was cool. And then they had a surprise battle. It's like when you're starting at 7:30, it's just hard for me to fathom fitting in any more battles. That there was already a lot on the flyer, you know what I'm saying? But a whole 3-round surprise battle. I think it was Breezy Will versus a guy named Black. And the guy named Black won the battle. I thought pretty clearly at that. So that's how everything started up. But then eventually it got to the main card, and that is where we're going to start from. So main card did start out on with A-Ward versus J2, and I think it's also worth saying we did miss 2 battles from the main card, or 2 battles did not go down, I should say, and that is Coffee Brown versus Bailey Lee, which was the ladies matchup of the night, did not go down, as well as Twerk versus X Factor did not go down either, and obviously Twerk is an electric performer. I'd say losing him on any card is a bit of a hit, but considering how long this event ran, and we all knew he was going to beat the shit out of X Factor. Respect X, because I believe it didn't go down because he had family emergency. They said something like that towards the end of the event, but either way, for the sake of time, probably good we lost a couple battles, but it did start out in A-Ward versus J2, and this was some people's dark horse contender for battle of the night. I saw some people, especially with the momentum J2's built up, saying that he could go and win this battle, and I thought there was just levels, especially just top tier to mid tier more than anything. Still a good year for J2, but I thought those levels were shown within the battle as well, and this one was all about A-Ward from first to third. I actually think J2's second was his best round of the battle, so he fought back then, but otherwise stumbled pretty much all 3 rounds of the battle, and then his third cuts it very short. Won't call it like a straight up choke, but very abruptly cuts his final round. It ended up being his weakest round. And that's tough because not only did he have a good A-Ward, he had a great A-Ward that he was dealing with. And what's crazy is that Ward did not use much here. I mean, listen, he got in pockets, he performed well. I mean, it was a high-level showing from him, but he really used a lot of surface level, just like making fun of him for being gay content. I'm not gonna lie, but it was executed creatively and very well. And even from the start, where he was like, "Smack called your phone, you were given some head," like a crazy flip. Obviously, going back to Mook, "Smack called my phone, I was getting some head," and then from there, I mean, it was haymaker after haymaker. Whether it was kind of like I'm saying, these joking haymakers, where he's like, "My contract said come to the D. Your contract said the same thing, but much differently." You know what I'm saying? So jokes like that. Another one, I gotta say pause before I quote this, was kind of this angle saying J2 is always trying to play tough. J2, you take dick, you will be a tougher man than I will ever be. You know what I'm saying? Just A-Ward was out of pocket, and then that doesn't even talk about the fact that he was punching well too, when he was talking about doctors got him on the stretcher trying to put 2 and 2 together. So he was wilding, dog. If it wasn't the angles, it was the punches. If it was the punches, it was the pockets. If it was the pockets, it was some of the straight up comedy in there. It was just an all around performance. And listen, like I said, shout out to J2. It doesn't change the fact he's had a good year, but when he's battled top competition this year, he has the JC battle, which is the most competitive of them. That was at the very top of the year. It is a debatable battle. I'm not mad at someone that is J2 2-1. I had JC 2-1. It's kind of an battle. Like, J2 had a great second, but his first is rough. JC clearly takes the third. And then from there, the Twerk battle. Twerk bodied J2 this year. The Av battle, it's 1-rounders, so it's not too effective. And J2's not like bad, but Av clearly shows levels. And then another battle here where he loses by a 3-0 margin to top tier level competition. So still a good year for J2, but some of these fights with some of the bigger dogs are kind of showing that there's still another level to take. There's still steps for him before he's maybe like a finished product or all the way there yet. So overall, really good performance from from A board, but then you take a turn because you get Ill Will versus Bill Collector, which was my battle of the night pick. Everyone knows, even though I was worried, I talked about my predictions, a little worried about the battle, and they showed why I was worried off rip. I still thought that they could have a crazy battle, and then the first round starts. Listen, Bill chokes in this first round, right? Battle started on Bill. But even before the choke, I did not like Bill's first, and it reminded me a lot of his first versus JC. I just thought it was weak. Like, I thought it was lack of energy. There's some clever lines, but definitely nowhere near some of Bill's strongest stuff. So he chokes. He got it back as well. But then the material after, although he was a little more, like, energized, it wasn't all that. And then it was on Ill Will in the first. And Ill Will had a clean first and a good first. And I thought it was 1-0. You know what I'm saying? I thought that it was already 1-0. But then Will chokes himself, you know what I'm saying? So we started Ill Will and Bill Collector with both of them choking in their first round. You literally got Calico saying, the battle's 0-0. The battle's 0-0. And it definitely felt like that. If I had to call the first, I think it's the round that there's some room for debate because they both, it's for not for good reasons either, you know what I mean? But I had Will 1-0. I still think that the content he got out was just better. Like, I didn't like Bill's round, whether he got the content out or not, you know what I mean? But with them both choking, I'm not going to debate about it all day. The second is the peak of the battle, much better round from both, and I thought Will was still on 100 in the second. I thought Bill had gotten better too, but I thought Will had a more complete round, more back-to-back haymaker type of moments. I want to say in the first round, that collect call pocket that he got into might have been my favorite from him really in the battle. I thought he was getting after it, but really good second from both, and some will say there's room for debate there, but I still confidently had Will in the second. So a lot of people were calling it kind of 1-1. Second was close enough. The first first was close because of bad reasons. Second was close because of good reasons. You know what I mean? I still had Will though, and then you get to the third round of the battle, and I thought Will just cleaned up. It was another kind of awkward round for Bill. It doesn't have the stumbles or uncleanliness of his first, but content-wise, even if it's a little better, it's kind of around there. It's just an overall lighter Bill Collector. I mean, it really reminded me in a lot of ways of the JC battle he just had, where he started out with the choke, and he's not awful the rest of the battle, but simply doesn't raise up to the level we saw Bill earlier in the year versus Chess, versus Rock. And I thought while Will started with that Bill Collector impression that lasted quite a bit too long, from there he got into the "you're a goofy" segment. It was like Will's actually his most tailored round. His third was extremely direct to Bill, going after the show out angle. What was it? What Show did to his head, like Ray's Boom Boom Room, or the effect Show had in his head, like Ray's Boom Boom Room. I thought that was fire. The third is very clear, so in a weird way, it's almost like 2-0 Ill Will in the second and third, with the first being so bad. But me personally, I called it a gentleman's 30 for Ill Will, and while I thought Will had a pretty good performance, its overall was quite a disappointing battle and nowhere near the battle of the night pick that I thought it was going to be. So after Ill Will and Bill Collector, our next battle was Tay-Rock versus Marv 1, which I think, while it wasn't the battle of the night, it was one of the only truly competitive battles of the night. I had this one as pretty debatable. And listen, first round of the battle, I thought Rock had a solid round, but in a lot of ways, this battle reminds me of when he battled Bill Collector on Still Outside. It is not as good as that battle by any means, but first round is just okay. You know what I mean? Not bad, but okay. Marv goes and he snatches that attention instantly. And I thought it was Marv's best round of the battle. And he had what was the bar he started with? Knock your skull out. I'm not playing. You want to play games? Knock your skull out your brain like a Jenga piece. I thought that was fire. Maybe the best bar Marv had in the battle. And I'm going to tell you right now, was Marv gassed in the first somewhat? Yeah. They were giving him a little bit more love than some of those bars probably deserved, right? But that doesn't mean that Marv wasn't still fire, though. I think they were giving him extra love, but that's part of a legend being at home, right? If Rock was in the DMV or in Baltimore, he'd probably get some extra love, too, you know what I mean? So I don't want something that's out of Marv's control, just how the crowd reacts to him, take away from the fact he was confident. He did have his best material in the first round, and for me, I still thought he confidently won that first round. Some people were saying, you take the reaction away, bar for bar was the closest, but I didn't like Rock's content or energy all that much. I thought the first half of his first was pretty weak. So even though I had Rock pretty clearly gentleman's coming in, I had Marv 1-0 early. You get to the second, though. What does Rock do when he gets punched in the face in the first? He turns around and he punches back in the second. It's a story as old as time. Rock's second is his best round of the battle. Aggression was up there. Rapping ability. Haymaker ability was more up there. What was the bar? After I accomplished this mission, I'm pulling up to your side quest. He had a few bars of quest that I thought went kind of crazy. And Marv's second is his weakest round. I just think that at some point in there, he either forgot his material or place, and I thought he freestyled or just lost his confidence and pace a bit, but his second was weird. I thought content-wise it was way worse than the first, and like pace-wise it was a bit awkward, so I had it 1-1 going into the third. And this is how I called the third. I really like Rock's third as well. Once again, heavy on the pockets, the aggression, and versus Bill Collector, okay first, great second, and then his third was somewhere in between. I felt like Rock's third was that is about how it played out here versus Marv as well. And the door was open for Marv in the third. Not that it was like easy to win, but if he had another like great round. And I thought he started great. The chain angle with how League was spelled wrong, kind of breaking down Rock's career a little bit, his character, and that's what you want, like to talk to him third. But the second half of Marv's third, getting into the angles, kind of questioning, Tay-Rock's sexuality a little bit of gay jokes, rapping at caution. It's just so funny because the third is an example of the chain, almost fight. There's so many career elements they will always hit when you angle versus Rock. But when you get into the Fred and Lady Caution and some of these other common angles, they really don't hit like that. So for me, it's still a very close third. I'm not mad at anyone that has Marv by an edge in the first and third. But I did not like the second half of Marv's third. I would even debate he might have had the round and wrapped himself out of it a bit. So for me, I had Tay-Rock second and third round, taking the battle 2-1. But like I said, I think it's competitive enough, which is not even kind of the credit I gave it for coming in. And while it was a good performance from Rock, I got to give credit and say it was a good performance from Marv too. So debatable, I got Rock winning. And then from there, you got into the final three battles of the night. And it ended up being Rex and Clean before Arsenal and Mook. So we got to talk about Calico versus Swamp. And I am so happy to tell you, Calico versus Swamp was the battle of the night. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I was happy as hell when the flyer came out. I thought the way that Cal kind of talked about the battle, I was scared how good he would be for it. And then you actually get to the battle itself, and you get a really good Swamp, but some would also argue that the Calico performance is up there with Mook, who we'll talk about in a minute, in terms of like really the key, like the focuses of the night. And this battle starts in the first, but the problem is it also comes down to the first as well. So I'm kind of going to call it backwards for a second. First of all, Calico won the second round of this battle. Calico's second round is an all-time Calico round, and it is the best round from this event. I love Calico second. The landscaper, the setup, like the scheming setup. Oh, you a landscaper? I'm known for weed and whacking motherfuckers. Oh my god, that was crazy. I'll give my hitman an extra stack if he don't hit no civilians. Dog. The haymakers, it was the rapping ability in between. It was the fact that when Calico's at his best, he doesn't waste space within the round. Like, he's not joking when he says every line means something. Even the setups, the little stuff, syllable-wise, like the structure of how he's rapping it, there's no dead space in the round whatsoever. So, love Calico second. Good second from Swamp too, but great. The third, it's still debatable. I thought Swamp had the opportunity to take it clear, the round clear. I thought Cal's third was kind of like Marv's second versus Rock, where he started good in the first half, but Cal might have lost his place somewhere in there. I just thought he ended the round kind of abruptly, a little bit like the pace, the confidence wasn't there from the first two, and I thought Swamp kind of got, I'm not going to say slept on, but once again, part of a home game. They're not cheering for you the same way they're cheering for Calico because we're in Detroit, but that's part of it though. That's part of taking a guy in his backyard like that, but I thought Swamp still kept his composure. A little bit more of a tailored third as well, and I still ended up edging him the round by the end of it. There's some people saying it could be a possible, you could, I don't know, like, it's close enough in the third, but I don't know how much you can really debate Cal in that third either. So I had it Swamp in the third, Cal very clear in the second. It comes down the first. I'm going to be doing a review for this bar for bar, absolutely no doubt about it. So we're going to get more into the details and have a final call when it's all said and done. But both of them had a great first. I think Swamp was a little bit more direct. But the legacy talk, kind of the money talk, belittling a little, and the way that Cal is able to present things rapping-wise, because he's definitely a better pure rapper than Swamp, and that showed heavy in these first two rounds. It's super debatable, because content-wise, like I said, Swamp was a bit more direct. The whole, I would have told Trick, I do know shotgun, and just dealt with what came with it. So much great stuff on either side. If I had to say something on first watch, I might edge Calico, but that might be from watching the moment, kind of just seeing how receptive people were to him, because it's just that close till I go to the bar for bar. So I'm calling it Calico 2-1 edge, second clear, and first, as I said, by an edge. But overall, battle of the night, and better than the best this battle could have turned out, and I think really impressive for both gentlemen here. Then we had T-Rex versus Clean Paper. There's not a lot to talk about here. Rex won 3-0 in a very boring battle, man. They kind of took the energy out of the room a bit with this one. Clean did not have a very clean performance, to say the least. He choked in his first and his third, and I will say, during Clean's performance, he had said that he lost his father a week ago, I believe. That's tough stuff, and I tweeted about it. But I always appreciate, our performers are human too. And I mean, listen, Clean has got a history of no-shows. You know what I mean? He's done a lot to the sport. But however, I mean, losing your pops is losing your pops. I think anybody can relate to losing that one close. So losing someone that close to your family and the effect that it could have on you. So it's one of those that, while I don't, Clean might have given this performance no matter what, obviously condolences to him, and appreciate him for even performing, showing up to the event. There's a lot of people that go through that, they wouldn't have shown up to the event. But Rex was better. He was clean all 3 rounds. It wasn't a great Rex, but it wasn't as good as the Rex versus Chilla, the Rex versus on Bad News, but I'd say it's, I guess, a bit more consistent and better than the Rex versus Swamp. It's really just not a lot to talk about. He just won all 3 rounds of the battle, and it led perfectly into Murda Mook versus Arsenal, which obviously is the main event. It was late as hell when this battle got on, but it had no lack of excitement, because for me, the performance of the night lies within this battle. The best 3 rounds there was on Winter Madness, and that was from Murda Mook. He was my winner going into the battle, but he overwon to an extent. I can't say enough about how good Murda Mook was in this battle. And not that no promo like what he did is ever acceptable, but clearly it was a bit of a setup, a trap. This is not a Mook that was uninterested, or he just didn't like the battle that much. So that's not why he was talking about it. He was laying low with 3 rounds of crack. You know what I'm saying? He was dumping. And that was from first round to third. I'll say, first of all, the first from both of these battlers is great, from Ars and Mook. And it's exactly how you want a grudge match to start. It was a chess match early. Mook got to counter-writing the whole apartment angle off rip. It was the first thing that he rapped about, talking about wanting, he was like, I don't mind looking crazy on Instagram if it means that we can have the police on cam. He was like, I was more worried, y'all was worried about the Instagram, I was worried about the police glitching their cams. Like, I thought chose a really good way to counter-write it, and I can't speak enough on how good both of these guys, I said this about Cal, a couple other people, how well they rap their material. Like, these guys have one-of-one flows. Like, Arsenal's flow is his style is his. There's really no one else like it. Same goes for Mook. And a lot of that comes down to the way they wrap their material. And I thought the battle was so smooth. And especially Mook looked so comfortable, dog. Like, I can't overstate how comfortable he looked in and out of his bag. He was dancing on Ars a little bit in the first. The little schemes in between, like, kind of similar to Cal's style too. Like, there wasn't a lot of wasted space, even when it's the in-between material or when you're talking directly to him, and there's not really as much wordplay, even though there was little schemes, clever lines hidden throughout. I just really, really like Mook's performance, but specifically his first round, angled at Ars a bit too, and I thought Ars angled back. His first was probably his, like, most tailored to, like, speaking on what Mook has or hasn't brought to the culture in terms of as a rapper, he's brought a lot, but not giving shots, not building a league and putting money in his peers' pockets. You know what I'm saying? They're like, are you really the pioneer compared to me and all the battles and everything that I've done for the culture, what I've put into the culture? And there's a good conversation to have there in the first. And I think that it does leave the first to be a bit debatable. I'm seeing quite a few people give Ars that first round. He had a longer round as well, which of course is going to help him. I personally still edge Mook the first round of the battle. I just thought his first was on point. But I couldn't be mad. It's the one round I could not be mad if you try to edge it to Ars 1-0. It was the perfect start to the battle. But then from there, this one's all about Mook, man. His second, not as good as his first, but once again, very tailored, rapped very well, and I thought they didn't cheer as much in the second, but not because I think that they didn't like it. I just think that everyone was really listening to what Mook was saying, like trying to catch every word and kind of letting a guy who's a pure rapper like that rap straight through his material. It'll remind you a bit of like his Tay-Rock performance, which granted, that's an empty room, but that's just the way people were listening in that second. So don't let the lack of reaction fool you. I still thought Mook's second was very good. Ars's second was already kind of paling in comparison. listen. I saw some people saying the content was close. He was angling in the second too, but then to make it very clear, he choked ended his round. It was very weird because like he had wrapped a bit, and I felt like if he cut it more abruptly, like, time, Jersey, like, he could have just avoided that, but he choked. Like, he sat around, forgot his material, was kind of like, oh, fuck, and then he ended his round. So you make it now a default round, you know what I mean? Like, Mook got the second. I saw some people saying, someone commented, and someone I like, saying a fan, but he was like, Arsh choked, but it was too late. Like, he choked late in the second, but he already won by then. Fuck no. That is not what we're doing here, So I had Mook 2-0 personally, and then you get into the third. I love Mook's third again, and this time was a bit more of like the legacy talking about I'm not finna go to that level of disrespect with you, kind of counter right in the mother angle, which was perfect timing considering what Arsh was about to do. But the whole why don't they mention you with me is the where are you when they're mentioning the greatest? Why is it when they're talking GOAT they're talking about me and not you? That whole where were you comparing their legacy segment, that's when I thought it was like it was just so perfectly strategized from Mook. The counter writing and angling in the first, to the pure rapping and punching with them a lot in the second, still angling. And then the third being like, you're just always like the message of the round, like you're going to be jealous of me because I'm the one in that GOAT talk, no matter how much you try to put down my name or talk about me out of, out of my name, that I'm the one. And I thought like the message was clearly received, and that's the way that he was rapping it, just so much confidence, and that you could see the confidence like pretty much oozing from him, whether it was the rapping ability, angling. Mook was just at 100, and then Arsh's third is the one thing I thought he couldn't do in this battle, and after already being down 2-0, the last thing he needed was a third. Just talk about Mook's dead mom. Like, that's the whole third. It's just like, your mom's dead, your mom's dead, your mom's dead. And it got weird, man. It was cringy, and there wasn't really much creativity to it. It was straight up disrespect, and I just don't think that works like it did in 2010, like it did in 2012. You got to have a little bit more to it. And by the end of Arsh's third, they were booing him as well. Just overall, he saved his worst round for his third. He had some bad stuff in there too. You're a simp son. She had a simp son. You're Bart to her. Mook 3-0, man. Mook very clearly in the second and the third, at least winning this battle 2-1. But I overall had Mook edging the first as well. Performance of the night, and another lopsided grudge match in battle rap history where I thought someone won extremely clear. But once again, man, that is my full thoughts here for Winter Madness. I had A-Ward 3-0 versus J2, just to go over them again real quick. I had Ill Will 3-0 versus Bill Collector, but the first is debatable. It could be 2-1 Will. I had Tay-Rock 2-1 versus Marv 1, debatable, second and third. Swamp versus Calico, battle of the night. I did have Cal in the second clear, and by an edge in the first. But if there's any battle not to fully take my word for, it's that one. I'd actually go as far to say, sometimes I lie about what's going to be next. I change my mind. But you should expect a Calico versus Swamp bar for bar review tomorrow. That should be what the first thing you're expecting, because I love the battle. It's either going to be that or Arsenal versus Mook, but you are getting a bar for bar review tomorrow. So Calico, first watch, I'm going 2-1 edge, but subject to change. T-Rex in the lightest battle of the night, clean 30 on clean paper. And then obviously I had Murder Mook 3-0 versus Arsh, but the first is debatable. It could be Mook 2-1, but I really like the event. Like I said, I would give it an 8 out of 10 if they just started it. The time is the only real thing that I thought went wrong here. I think I said it in the beginning, but if I didn't, I even liked Ilmac's commentary. I know solo commentary, and it was a different vibe from the event. He's not at the event. He's kind of just doing bar for bars, but you know me. I'm a Mr. Attention to Detail, so I like that, especially like we can all learn something from an Ilmac breaking down a battle, like a real legend of the game. So I appreciated the work he did. I don't know if anyone else said it, but thank you, Ilmac, for the commentary. Only thing that Calico's league could do better, I just think start time. Even if it was just an hour and a half earlier. No surprise battle. You get right to the main card. That 90 minutes could have really done something for the energy, but clearly that didn't affect anything because Mook was still getting a lot of love in the building at the end of the night. I think people were like, oh, the crowd's starting to die when it was T-Rex and Clean. The crowd is not starting to die. They almost killed it. You know what I'm saying? Mook just happened to wake us back up, but overall, really happy with the event. I thought it turned out as it should, and even with missing a couple battles, probably ended up helping in the long run, considering the event still ended at 2 a.m., even without a couple of those battles. But now I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section down below. battle of the night, performance of the night. How do you feel about Mook versus Arse? How do you feel about Swamp versus Cal? Just tell me about whatever your biggest takeaways from the event are, and how you think this might affect some Cody cases, because I didn't speak about it directly in this video, but while Swamp didn't win flat out, I thought him and Calico being a war is still positive for his case, whether you have him on the winning or losing side. I know it seems like the consensus is Calico won this one, but I do think there is absolutely a debate for Swamp in that first and third, which is why I'm so kind of like keened in on going and doing the review. But either way that you call it, thought it was great for him. Obviously, Calico getting back into the at least debatable win column. We're back to great performances. Rock ending the year on a good showing. A-Ward ending the year on a good showing. Maybe putting a dent in J2's case a little bit. Just a lot of different things to talk about with this event, man. So please let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be going back and forth with a lot of you about this one. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. As I said, like, comment, subscribe, look out, and let me know. Do you want the Mook vs. Arsenal review first, or the Calico vs. Swamp review first? Please let me know as well in the comments. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.